The sad thing is, the nominal church is not preparing the people for what is coming. Evil has arisen, Satan has rose up, and he's forcibly attempting to invoke an impeachment upon this nation.
Washington Post. Conspiracy theories about Biden's son. Nowhere is this a conspiracy theory except in the minds of the communists and progressives in this country who want to take this president down, and they are going after him with everything they got.
The embracing of all deception, perversion, and the absolute denigration of the Lord Jesus Christ, yet the embracing of every other small g, God, demon.
And if you were to communicate to them, it's not as if you're communicating to an individual, but a kind of collective gestalt satanic evil, so that it has one mind with many tentacles, but we're looking at one beast, almost in human form.
This nation is under a demonic attack. The problem is the leaders are demonically controlled. You know, the media used to keep politicians honest, but now the media has become corrupt. And so you think, well, I'll go to church and get the truth. No, you won't. Most churches today are not preaching the truth because pure, unadulterated truth is not popular.
This is not a whistleblower. Let's just start with that. This is a leaker. This person did not have anything to blow the whistle on. Everything in this document that was written not by this person but by attorneys is hearsay. There's no evidence in it whatsoever anywhere. It is not a whistleblower complaint. This whistleblower didn't go through the ICIG process like he was supposed to. He went directly to Adam Schiff to begin coordinating another attempt to impeach Donald Trump. And people have got to understand, this is another shadow government, deep state operation, actually trying again to remove the president. And what they did was real sly, because if they would have brought this person forward with this ridiculous garbage information that's pure hearsay, they would have been taken apart. The whistleblower, quote unquote, the leaker, would have been investigated. Everybody connected with this operation and plant would be investigated. So what they craftily did is they put him under the whistleblower statute so he couldn't be investigated. These mysterious sources he was contacted couldn't be investigated. That's their plan. That's what they did. And then they actually changed the whistleblower complaint form to include hearsay, which would have been thrown out of court. This is a deep state operation. It's like Russia collusion 2.0. This is a criminal operation to impeach Donald Trump.
We are on like serious life support here. This is like crazy time. Folks, this is crazy town. We are living in bizarro Superman land. What universe are we living in? It gets better. Here's This Week in Rashida Tlaib, where she's trying to figure out with her colleagues, she's ruminating with the crowd over when they arrest Donald Trump, where they're actually going to put him.
This is not about the truth. This is about influencing voters in a presidential election. The truth has nothing to do with this. Facts have nothing to do with this. This is about the news media influencing the way people think so that they vote a certain way, so that the government gets more power, so that they can tax you and me more. That's what this is about. The truth be damned. They don't care about the truth. It's about influencing you so that you believe government's the solution. Whether it's climate change, taxation, has nothing to do with science or reality. It's about political will.
And ladies and gentlemen, you need to know that there really are guillotines. The prominence of being thrust into this biblical period. Americans have already accepted all the macabre, the horrible things, and the Lord said to me, Steve, if they would do that to my little ones, my innocent ones, what will they do that to my followers?
The day will come when we're going to be so persecuted. If you talk godliness, righteousness, you oppose sin, abortion, homosexuality, same-sex marriage, transgenderism, they're going to get rid of us. That's the beginning of getting rid of the church, is to silence its voice. And regretfully, preachers, they silenced themselves long ago for the sake of money.
And these people would have you believe there's no such thing as good or evil.
What happens to a society when you remove the concept of God from it? When you don't teach the kids, your children, about a higher power, a creator? When you take all of that out and all you're left with is atheism, society spirals out of control pretty darn quickly. Look at Antifa. Look at these rabid leftists screaming at the top of their lungs to seize the guns in this country and offer women government paid for abortions in the 9th month. This is pits of hell, Dante's Inferno stuff.
For example, places like Planned Parenthood, the murdering of the unborn and such. Is this why there's such a great fight to maintain the status quo of killing the unborn? Because there's this insatiable appetite for that in other uses.
It all fits in because, I mean, the slaughter of the innocents, as far as abortion goes, there's not a whole lot of difference of the trauma that goes on with a child inside the womb than a victim or a baby on a satanic altar.
Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto. They all said that the real objective of all the major communist revolutionary leaders had nothing to do with social justice, fair distribution of wealth, universal health care, economics. The heart and soul of Marxism could care less about those things. Those are the lies they tell the people to seduce them. All these great thinkers who had personal experience in suffering under communist regimes said what they're really all about, and what the highest level communist leaders are always really about, has nothing to do with what they say they're about. What they're really about is the worship of Lucifer and Satan, and they absolutely hate and despise Jesus Christ, the Bible, and Christians. So their overwhelming focus has nothing to do with economics and social justice and universal health care. Their primary focus is hating, destroying, killing Christians, the Bible, and Jesus. They're possessed and motivated by a spirit of Antichrist. For crying out loud, be a man and woman of God. Pick up the Bible and begin to read it.
The greater one tries to live a godly and righteous life, one who abhors lying and falsehood, who's standing for absolute truth. We're going to be assaulted, we're going to be persecuted, because righteousness is always attacked by darkness and evildoers.
Because every baby inside the womb feels the pain. So we ask the question, why does the abortion doctor have to kill the baby first before they chop up the baby into parts and drag the baby out? It is a bloody, horrific mess, a slaughtering of some of the most innocent. And so any Satanist, even traditional and non-traditional Satanists, know the more innocent, more they gain from this side. They love this. We've got to understand the nature of the dark side. They love desecration of humanity. They love to do this as they do it against God, as they do it against. It's almost like they're harming us and harming humanity and harming children. And by the way, they revel in it. There's no demon. There's no Satan that has 1 ounce of sympathy. The people that get closer to this, they don't have any sympathy either.
Look at the hatred of the left. Look at the hatred that we have out there.
But the people are going to get hurt or killed when there's riot in the streets, because Antifa and the leftists are going to go nuts, and they're going to become violent, unhinged, lunatic, psychotic, murdering thugs.
I'll start off by saying this isn't just a secret document. It's classified as top secret Strap 3, SIGINT, UK eyes only. So this is the highest you can secure a document in the UK. It is not meant for American eyes.
People are going to be reading this document as we're talking about it. I'll put it up on screen.
Okay.
Let's read through this quickly, and then you can give us the background, because this is some of the most important stuff that I've ever talked about on this show. On August 28th, 2016, GCHQ CSO filed for permission to execute Project Folsom at the request of the U.S. President, folks, that would have been Barack Obama, seeking intelligence gathering into the Trump Organization and Donald J. Trump for President, Inc., both located at 725 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York. Activities include foreign and U.S. domestic signals collection in regards to communication with Russian hostile actors. Let's jump down to number 4. U.S. National Security Advisor Rice has requested that we continue our surveillance during the transition period. Its internal U.S. intelligence is potentially compromised by the incoming Trump administration.
Moving on to Susan Rice. We're under attack, and it's coming from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Absolutely. But it's not just from Trump and his group. It's also from us. We're all fighting back. We are all after Susan Rice and that whole group. We want them put behind bars. We want them tried for treason.
President Trump, love him or hate him, scares the living daylights out of the deep state. And how do we know that? Let's go back to last Tuesday. Donald Trump went to the belly of the beast, the tentacle of the deep state, the United Nations, a bunch of globalist confab. Folks, the President of the United States went into the belly of the beast and delivered a declaration of war against the globalist syndicate, against the deep state. And what was the reaction of the deep state on that same day? Tuesday, September 24th. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Nadler, all puppets of the deep state, with the help of some people that have R's after them. Look, this deep state thing, it's not just D's. There are plenty of R's that are in the deep state, including, let's give you a name, Mitt Romney. Oh yeah. What did the puppets of the deep state do? They launched yet another hoax on the American public in order to try to impeach Donald Trump.
I mean, this is so much BS. And I'm telling you, as a former chief of staff to an attorney general, we are active in foreign investigations. We are asking foreign countries all the time to conduct investigations, to provide us with information. And what turns out here is Joe Biden decides to run for president of the United States. And so, according to the Democrats, Joe Biden's above the law, not the rest of us. Joe Biden's above the law. This so-called whistleblower, how we now know, is a rogue Democrat CIA agent. That's what he is. He produced the second impeachment document. This was written for the Democrats in the House of Representatives. This was written for the media. They knew it was coming. It's an inside game. This isn't a whistleblower with a whistleblower complaint. This is a Democrat rogue CIA agent trying to bring down the presidency, working with the Democrats and now the media, putting out an impeachment complaint written for the Democrats. Now let's look at this quickly. So you have a CIA agent who's a partisan Democrat. He meets with another partisan Democrat, a Schiff staffer. He doesn't say, I want to meet with both parties on the committee because I'm really upset. No, he meets with a Schiff staffer. Why don't we know this guy's name? Such an incurious media. Isn't that funny? Schiff is briefed about what his staffer was told. Schiff lies about knowing anything on TV. Schiff withholds it from the Republicans, but who doesn't he withhold it from? Nancy Pelosi. Now, how do I know that? Because she goes to the podium, like Eva Peron, and she goes to the podium, declares, now we're going to have an official impeachment inquiry without the transcript. Well, how did she know? Because Schiff tipped her off about what was in this complaint, which is nothing but what was in the complaint. And keep something in mind, not a single one of the individuals actually monitoring the phone call filed a complaint, sought to be a whistleblower. Not one. Schiff staffer tells the CIA agent to get a lawyer. What kind of lawyer does he get? Well, he happens to get a Schumer Clinton lawyer who happens to work with a group called Whistleblower Aid. And Breitbart has a great piece on this. They were founded in 2017 for the purpose of taking down the Trump administration. And they're working with Compass Rose Legal, which is this other legal firm. Left-wing lawyers, left-wing firms, Soros involved in funding one of them. Gee, you think this is an inside job so far? His complaint isn't drafted by him. I came on here last week and told you the whole thing. His complaint was prepared by these lawyers. Leaked to the New York Times that Schiff knew something about this. This was cover. So when there's a hearing, it's not so dramatic when it's found out what Schiff's role in it. And they're holding back this so-called whistleblower. They want their Blasey Ford moment. I want to address the United States Senate. You have a responsibility to protect the Constitution and protect this country and protect the office of the presidency. We don't have a House impeachment inquiry going on here. We have a Democrat Party impeachment inquiry going on here. And only the Senate has the power to police what the House Democrats are doing. And they should not participate in this. It is not a House impeachment inquiry. There was no vote. It's the Democrat Party's abuse of power.
This time period that we're in now is different than any other time period in the history of the world and in the history of America, because we have this titanic collision that's been accelerating for decades between two fundamentally clashing different worldviews.
Psalms 94:16, who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? Now, what I witnessed yesterday, Doug, when you was talking about Donald Trump, that's righteous anger. That man is getting tired of being maligned. He's tired of being lied on. He's tired of false accusations, every falsehood that could be imagined. We may not want to believe it. People like Adam Schiff, they're demon-possessed. They are apostate. God has left them because they did not like to retain God in their knowledge. If you have any conviction at all, you cannot lie to the degree these people lie. So it shows you they have no conviction. There's no element of godliness in their lives.
Big part that I think the slaughter of the innocents has done, which is an evidence, I think, of the decadence and darkness and the anti-God position, including entire political parties like the Democratic Party. On the other side of the technology, I would even say this, look at artificial intelligence. Probably for 30 years when I dealt with prophecy, end of days, and the global elite, I mentioned political, military, the economic, the elites there, the wealthy, because they're all going to be needed. They're all part of that. Whether you look at Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones, or any trilateralists, you look at any of them, and you're going to see this element. The element that is emerged, that is even satanic writings like Alice Bailey, the externalization of the hierarchy in 1937, the demonic presence declared that they will begin to work on the scientists and the inventors to guide them to the technologies that will open the doorways and the gateways between this side and that side.
There is no truth in the Democratic Party. There is no truth in the Republican Party. There are some good men and good women in the Republicans. I'm yet waiting to see a good representation of Democrats.
Chaotic leaders produce nothing but chaos. These people, their lives are corrupt. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I would dare say, and I don't mean to impugn everyone with a broad brush, but if our founding fathers walked into the halls of Congress, they would declare every one of those up there treasonous in some way. I believe they would all be found guilty of treason in some capacity, backdoor deals, perks, privileges, whatever the case might be. Because they go there to serve themselves and not serve the people. These people only serve for one reason. What is in it for me? What is in it for me? That's what's happened to us. And regretfully, I was just laying in bed last night thinking, most all of your large news networks, their reporters are homosexual, their anchors are homosexual, and you ask yourself this question, how can I get the truth when all of these who pontificate are sodomite? How can I remotely get the truth? And I could sit here and name scores of news platforms, and we all know these people are homosexual. Perversion is running this nation, and so persecution is coming. And you may sit in a church, you may support a minister or ministry that won't tell you, but we're going to tell you here. We're going to tell you what you're about to face. I've never been so stirred as I am now, and I know, Steve, you've been accused of being a purveyor of fear. This is not about fear. This is about being a purveyor of truth. This is the truth, folks, and it's not looking good for this nation. It's been 18 years since 9/11. Are we a better nation or a more corrupt nation? Ask yourself the question, are we a better nation or a more corrupt nation? I know the answer. We are nothing but more corrupt because we didn't listen to God. We turned away from God, and we've gone further in deprivation and sin and degradation. Why? Because we've lost our love for the Lord Jesus Christ.